Hello and welcome back to the Premier Injuries podcast. Today we are talking the second part of our Game Week 9 analysis, Game Week 8 analysis, guiding you into the future. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. We've got so much good content here. No misinformation, no rumour, just great quality stuff. And thank you so much for the amazing feedback as well. It's been brilliant. Do comment below, do like and share the videos as well. It helps us out to help you. As we grow, we can do better content and, tailor it to what you want as well. But today we're talking about prospects to wait on and the bad ones. So we're talking about Leicester today. They're a bad aspect. They're a bad set of assets that I think are coming good. One of the big things that impressed me this weekend was actually that they seem to almost have found them old selves a bit. They were absolutely fantastic in the press. In fact, they had 260 pressures in this game, which is the most recorded by any team so far this season. And looking at articles in the Times, the Guardian and the Athletic, they talked about Brendan Rodgers using this international break as almost like a reset on the team. And I found that interesting, going back to basics, reintroducing the things that worked well last season. But the reason why I think the prospects to wait on, I think Vardy's fine. He's good. We talked about him in the good assets video yesterday, so make sure to check that out. But Iheanacho, I think he could be a cheap one. We're looking at maybe, do we keep Antonio, Bamford, people like that? He's a similar price range. Fantastic XG and XA per 90, both above 0.4. 3 goal involvements in the last 3. And the fact that Rodgers talking about last season, going back to what made them good then, well, Iheanacho was part of that plan. So is he somebody that's caught your eye, maybe, Linn?
Yeah, definitely. He did have really good end of seasons last year, and it does look like he could have another good season. My only worry is how much is he actually going to play? Because we've got Baka there as well, and he had really good, was it 15 minutes or something he came on? But he looked very promising as well. So I think it could be a bit of a competition for his place in the team. So at the moment for me, he's a wait and see. And if I was going with anyone, it would be Vardy.
Yeah, I think Vardy's the big one. He's got the higher ceiling. But also with Iheanacho, he's started in the last 3 and he's had a goal involvement in the last 3. If he can prove that he is, like you said there, he is going to be picked, then that could be incredible value asset. He won't reach the heights of Vardy, but he's still a great way into a team that can play well. Let's move on to the bad assets though. It's Man United. Linn, this is going to make you very happy talking about them. But one of the big bits of data that kind of shocked me, but at the same time, I was like, well, they have been playing that badly. Over the last 4 matches, they have the second worst XG conceded of any team. They make Norwich look a good defence. That's how bad they are at the moment. And the big thing as well is they've gone from overperforming in attack to underperforming. So the first 4 matches we kind of talked about, well, Ronaldo's great, Greenwood's fantastic. They're really good at kind of overperforming XG. Well, now they've gone from wildly going over that to 5 goals in the last 4 games from an XG of 6.18. So it seems that everything's catching up with them now. They can't keep it up. Ben, talking about them, terrible run, difficult fixtures. Is it unjustifiable to own any of them now? We talked in previous weeks, maybe hold on to Ronaldo. He can do well, but even he's cutting a very frustrated figure at the moment that really isn't getting onto anything.
They just look like a team of superstars, individuals. There is no real cohesion within the group. You talk about, square pegs and round holes. It's almost like a FIFA team, isn't it? They've went out and they've just bought some of the best players and they've thrown them in there. They were looking about, they needed a player with that creative edge, maybe to complement Bruno, somebody that give them a little bit width. And Sancho was supposed to be that player. They went all out. They've been linked with him for a long time. They went out, they brought him to the club, and you're right. I think bringing in Cristiano Ronaldo maybe complicates or confuses the situation or just makes things a little bit messy. And it isn't quite working. They're not blowing teams out the water. You know, they're not going to be playing Newcastle week in and week out. And it's difficult. I mean, look, Ronaldo, like any top class, world class player, the numbers speak for themselves. Is he capable of carrying that United team by himself? Of course he is, without any shadow of a doubt. But I think, you know, just there's almost this belief, this confidence issue. Is it the morale? Is it the crowd? And yeah, it's maybe just trickling down onto the pitch. And as the pressure, you know, the pressure's growing, there are suggestions and talked about maybe the off-field stuff and Ollie's coaching, Ollie and his backroom staff and his coaching staff maybe not being up to the required levels of someone who should be associated with one of the world's biggest clubs. And that's filtering down onto the pitch. Look, I'm a non-Ronaldo owner, and so I'm rubbing my hands with glee here with what's been happening. But every single game week, you know, I look at those fixtures and it's almost a behind the sofa moment, because, you know, that guy doesn't need a half chance. It's a quarter chance. You know, it's not even a chance. So it is a lot of money, but, you know, you pay top dollar for top players. And ultimately, if you can ride out the storm and these little lulls, they will return back to winning ways, and they will deliver the points and get you the big hauls. It's just sometimes, you know, it's just one of those moments for United. But it's enough for me to think, well, you know, I'm not really interested in anybody else, although I do own Bruno.
So, Linn, I mean, Ben's talking about rubbing his hands with glee. You were smiling at big stretches as we're ripping into them. And up next, Liverpool, I think your boys are going to absolutely smash them. Tottenham, Man City, Watford, not so difficult. Game week 13, Chelsea, and then Arsenal, game week 14. After that, a sea of green, easier fixtures. But are they not ownable till game week 14, 15? Is that possibly when we can entertain getting them back in?
Yeah, I would say so. At the moment, not even Ronaldo appeals. If anyone appeals, it's Greenwood. But I still don't trust United enough to want to get him in, where we've got other good options.
Yeah.
I think United are in deep trouble at the moment. And I think even Ronaldo might get the bench soon, because the last time we actually saw them play fairly well was when Ronaldo was benched.
It's a good point.
Rashford is back as well. And I think he's a good player. I would rate Rashford, actually. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I wouldn't trust in Ronaldo playing every game now.
Yeah, this is the thing. I'm going to move it on to one more United team. I feel like I'm winding up, a toy here that's about to maybe a jack in the box, because Ben's going to feel very vindicated on this one. He's been saying this for weeks and weeks and weeks. Leeds United are bad. And I think the big thing for me, looking at the data, is last season they played really nice football. Their defense wasn't great, but they were blowing teams away with great XG. Looking at this season, though, their attacking data is bottom 4. Defense is bottom 3 in terms of XG conceded. They're a relegation threatened team at the moment. Now, we can throw in that they've obviously got injuries, but the pragmatism or lack of pragmatism from Bielsa is really costing the team now. And how long do we continue saying they're a good Leeds team, but it was a good Sheffield United team last year, but this happened, that happened. When a team kind of goes in a downward spiral like this, it's very hard to kind of wrestle it back. Bielsa and the team have that ability, but how long do we trust in Bamford, Rafinha? I don't know if you want to take this one, Ben, because we're keeping it short and sweet, but do you want to lay into Leeds at all, or?
Look, I'll start with probably what a lot of people will point towards, maybe supporters, and in his defence is the absence of maybe key players. Patrick Bamford with his ankle problem. We've also seen Harrison, who just returned to the team last weekend. He had been struggling post-COVID. Obviously, Rafinha was missing and also carrying that niggling hip problem. We've seen problems in the back line. And so there's been, the squad has been, I mean, I still think as well that they're struggling, and it hasn't been discussed most, but the absence of Alioski, you know, left back, that just throws Leeds out of kilter a little bit. Firpo is coming in, weight of expectation, you know, from former Barcelona, how he's such a great attack. Look, it's going to take time for him to settle in. So the pressures are different, new environment. So maybe he's been judged a little bit unfairly. We've seen because of that, and he hasn't played, he's been out. Dallas has been dropping in there. Maybe that's not his ideal position. We've also seen Luke Ayling move aside. You know, he's been an ever-present in that Leeds back line. So they're, you know, some of the maybe contributing factors as to why this has happened. Now, do you know what? For me, we talk about, and maybe we're always talking about Leeds at the minute because we're expecting to build upon what they've done last year. You know, they had a great first season in the top flight, but teams now understand how Leeds play, and they work and their focus shift towards combating that and finding little bits of pockets of space in and around that high press, maybe trying to play and understand Leeds a bit more. So they're not, you don't have that novelty element there. You know, Leeds are going to try and run you into the ground. But, you know, there are ways of playing against it now. And I think they're just being a little bit found out. And to me, I just see that's all they've got. They talk about Bielsa being a world-class coach and within the game, he's so highly regarded. Show it. Where's your plan B? It's plan A, plan A, plan A. I mean, is that not just the pure definition of insanity? You know, it's not working. Newcastle could have took 3 points off them, and that's saying something. You know, and they're so heavily reliant on the likes of maybe a Bamford scoring the goals, and when his form dips a little bit, who's stepping up? Rafinha. Well, you nullify Rafinha. Where else is it coming from in that team? I just don't really see it. There is Dan James. He's been atrocious. I see Harrison yet to hit the form of last season. Rodrigo is probably one of my biggest disappointments. Internally, I understand he's been bashing his drum about, you know, I'm a centre forward, I'm a striker, put me in there. Find it hard to displace Bamford. He's had this chance to prove himself, to take that goal scorer's mantle, and he's been absolutely dog mutt.
Linn, what do you think the problems are with Leeds? And they probably got, you know, a good run till game week 15 to prove themselves. Will they be able to?
I think their injuries came at a very bad time. They really needed Bamford and Rafinha and also all the defenders. But yeah, I think I don't think Leeds is a bad team. They've got some really good players. But with all the injuries they've had, and they've lost confidence, and they've got to rebuild now. And question is, can they do it in time?
It's a very good question, and we will keep an eye on that over the coming weeks. But for now, that is our game week 8 analysis done, game week 9 build up done. We hope that you've enjoyed this. Please do leave a like if you have. Remember to subscribe to the channel. Check out Linn's Twitter. She posts lots of great stuff on there and also keeps you up to date with her team. Ben, thank you so much for your time today. Linn, thank you so much for your time today. We're going to wish everybody the best of luck, and we'll see you all again very, very soon.